I'm coming in loud and clear. Might hear me on the radio. Breaker, breaker, 1-9. Anybody got their ears on?
Hey guys, it's Eric. Hey, look, tonight I wanted to tell you about a book that I read when I was younger that was all about CB radios. And I'm going to try to find a picture of it. If so, I'll insert it right here. I have a copy of this somewhere that is called The Big Dummies Guide to CB Radio, right? I came across this thing at a Goodwill for $1. I would say it was probably 1994, 93, something like that. The book itself was written, looks like late 70s, early 80s. And it's a great book. It talks a lot, real easily, about how CB radio works. Then I came across this, and it turns out, I'm always looking for stuff like this. Turns out this is a sequel. The World of CB Radio. This is the same book, but it's got a lot of additional information, and it was made, I'll have to put my glasses on here to see this, but I bought this at a yard sale as well. It looks like it came from a public library at some point. This was made in 1995. It was originally copyrighted in 1987, so kind of cool. And man, this thing was awesome. So I'm going to get the camera off the tripod. I'm going to show you just a couple pages of this. You know what's funny is I've made a ton of videos over the last 5 or 6 years now talking about CB radio, and a lot of the knowledge that I acquired was from other CB radio enthusiasts in the early and mid 90s. But to be honest with you, a lot of what I learned, because I just didn't know much about the hobby, was from the book, The Big Dummies Guide to CB Radio. It has really cool cartoons and really easy to understand language, but it teaches a lot about proper setup and proper antennas and what all the knobs and dials do. So if you're kind of new to the hobby and you can find one of these on eBay or at a bookstore or something like that, go ahead and get it. I doubt it's in print anymore, but if you find a used copy of it, it's pretty darn hilarious. So let's take a look at it. So I'm just going to go to some of the pictures here, because the World of CB Radio, and you can see some of the beautiful drawings that they have getting on the air. All right. So I flipping through the book, and I was like, wait, I've seen that picture before. I've seen this picture before. How to pick your handle. How to do a radio check. I mean, it's just like real basic stuff, but it's really fun how it's laid out. And there's stuff for European CB radio, UHF stuff, but it also goes in, like, look, it's showing all the ham bands and shortwave bands and other radio bands. British 40 channel FM. Sideband, the 10 channels, the FCC. So when it was originally written, you had to have an FCC license to operate on CB, and of course that's long gone, so they updated it. But they got some of the radios here. There's some beauties there that you haven't seen probably in years. That I've always wanted one of those. That's one of the radios that I lusted after when I was a kid. I think it's the 474. Yeah, 474 TRC 474. Not a sideband radio, but just a good-looking radio. And it talks about, hey, look, if we're looking at buying a new radio, what the sensitivity, what all this stuff means, and how, what makes one better than the other. And it's great. Remember these? This was something, anti-theft, right? You'd slide your CB out at night. So it had that. Then it talks about antennas. Some of the pictures, look at how old that is, probably early 70s. There's an old bus, looks like, with a 102 whip on it. You might be seeing that here at my house very shortly. And this is really cool. This is actually where I got most of the information I learned early on about antennas. Talking about patterns, talking about how, good places to mount radios or antennas. Where I usually put mine on the truck bumper, you can see that is not an ideal pattern at all. Where center of the roof is going to give you a great pattern. Trunks give you a pretty decent pattern, but where I usually end up with the 102 whip, it's not great, really. So lots of stuff here. Talking about base stations. I mean, it just goes on and on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this video, but I have been meaning to make this for like 4 years. I just can't find the other copy that I have, the original. But it's just all kinds of stuff. Talking about skip, seasonal skip. I mean, look at it all. So if you're interested in CB radio and you just don't know where to start, you just don't know anything really, right? And my videos apparently haven't helped you at all, and I hope they have. The World of CB Radio. Try to look for that used, and you'll be impressed with how awesome it is. That's it, a short video. Take care, my friends.